Hello, Sonder family. Today is a very good day to have a good day. And we're going to have a great week because we're getting ready to set up our week together. You are among friends, our Sonder friends. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy, and I am one of a team of facilitators for Silk and Sonder, who has the privilege of setting up a week with you today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for carving out time to get your week set up. Joining me on the call this morning is another one of the facilitators from our team, Bailey Grady, and she is coming to you from Tennessee. She's popping on to give you a good morning wave. And if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the chat, and Bailey or myself, but more Bailey, because she's really watching that chat today. She'll try to answer your questions or point you in the right direction. Speaking of that chat, if you don't see that you are sending to everyone, if it says to host and panelists, that means your message is only going to Bailey and myself. So just kind of hover over that and change that to everyone so that we can share with one another. One of the wonderful, magical parts of Sonder Socials is that we do get to interact with each other through that chat and share ideas and things that work for us. And we just are cheerleaders for one another. So we want to make sure your chat is set to everyone so that we can see what you have to say. I saw that we have some first-time socialers, a big, extra big special welcome to you guys. We're glad you're here. Sometimes these setups can go pretty fast, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Feel free to grab screenshots or have your phone ready and take a picture of anything that might speak to you so that you can go back and work in your journal. Most of us do have a cadence of how we set our journals up, but we like to gather among our Sonder friends, make this appointment with ourselves so that we don't end up like, it's Tuesday and I never set up for the week. So anyway, I think that's probably it. Grab all your supplies. Some of you guys make these amazing pages with stickers and washi tape. I tend to be kind of pen and paper gal, but I also do add color with my colored pencils. So it's what works for you and in your journal. Just a reminder, when you are part of the Silk and Sonder community, you are here for the 4 pillars of this community. You are here for clarity, compassion, connection, and creativity. We cultivate a safe space for everyone. Our community guidelines, we want to remind, we want to be kind and courteous to each other. So be kind to yourself and one another. We do respect privacy. I always laugh and we kind of joke around about, what happens in Sonder Club stays in Sonder Club. This is such a magical group, and we want you to feel comfortable with sharing, but we do respect each other's privacy. Of course, no hate speech or bullying. And then a reminder that these gatherings are tools that just help us elevate our emotional health, but a reminder that you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. And if anything just isn't hitting right, or you're just like, I'm just not at a place to reflect on that today, that is okay. I'm going to encourage you to take what you need. There is no time limit set for this social and your things to be done. You might just need to sit among friends for a little while, and that's okay. So you take what you need from our time together. So this month of March, we have been really leaning into gratitude, being very focused on that. Our journal prompts have been around gratitude. We've been digging into more deeper ways of finding moments of gratitude in our everyday lives. So we will start off this morning by looking into our gratitude mind map. If you are brand new here, I'll explain that in just a second as we get to that graphic so that it'll make a little more sense to you. We are going to do a rosebud thorn reflection, look back over our last week, and then we'll dig into the weekly setup. I've got lots of examples to show you, and then we'll close. So for those of you who are brand new here, we do a deep dig into our monthly theme at these weekly setups. And each week we take the theme and then we look at that theme through different lenses. So this week we are focusing on the future. Week 1 was gratitude when we consider our past. Week 2 was gratitude when we consider our present, this very moment. And today we are looking into the future and having gratitude for a future. So here's my page. It's just, I didn't do any fancy setup. I just started writing. You can see I have my week 1, my week 2, my week 3, and then week 4 will be next week, and we reveal what that is. So I'm going to give you a couple of hints as you look at leaning into that future. I decided to take mine and look at it in a decade from now. What does my future look like in 10 years? What am I grateful for? I'm going to manifest those things. Now, you can also do this into next week or next month. It doesn't have to be a long term. Your future is anything that happens after today, right? So you take what you need. But I just said, I want to have close relationships with my children and their significant others, and I want to still be important to my grandchildren. I can remember my mother-in-law telling me that they get to a point where they kind of outgrow you. And I hope that those relationships with my 3 littles are still strong in a decade. I want to have good health with an active lifestyle. I'm going to be grateful that I am embracing my senior years in a healthy way. Gratitude to be connected to my communities, and that I'm going to express gratitude because I'm going to still be learning and be creative. Living with an abundance mindset, knowing that I have enough and I'm okay. I don't need to be fretting. And then just having meaningful days. I'm giving gratitude that my days still are valuable and meaningful to the world. And then I asking myself the question there, what does present me need to do for future me so that all of this can happen? And I was laughing with Bailey. I said, if I want to be vital and healthy and moving, I can't sit on my bottom for the next decade, right? I got to embrace the future. So I'm going to go one more slide. I've got something cool to show you. Here's some tips. Connect with your future self, whatever that looks like for you. And then I said, visualize your future in the different areas of your life. And these are actually those intentions that we set each month. Look at spiritual, physical, money, personal life, key relationships, your professional goals, or anything else that you shape your intentions around. And remember that question, what can present me do for future me so that those things can happen? One more fun point is that symbol that you see is actually the symbol for gratitude. And it's so beautiful because it starts in the middle. And as we express gratitude and look for things to be grateful for each and every day, it spirals out into the world. And then you see those 3 ellipses. It continues on, it carries on. So I just added that as something kind of fun. You might want to doodle a gratitude in your journal. So let's take a few moments to work on this and share in the chat as you are comfortable. thank you all for leaning into this lens of thinking about what that future could look like. You guys shared some beautiful things. You're realizing that what you do now is kind of manifesting into that universe about what you want things to look like. And it's important to always have dreams. And I think this is a great reflection um, piece to think about that future. Sometimes we get so bogged down in the day to day that we don't really, I mean, we kind of think about it, but we don't really sit with it and be intentional. So this is a good thing to do even when we're not leaning into gratitude as our theme, but maybe once a month, once a quarter, do a reflection about your future self and finding gratitude for what that future life will look like. Thank you guys for leaning into that. So every week at our weekly setup, we like to take a look at what the previous week brought us. We call that doing a rose, bud, thorn reflection. A rose is a highlight, a bud is an emerging opportunity, and a challenge is the thorn. And so this is just a really great way of kind of reflecting on the week, what served you, what didn't serve you, and getting all of these down on paper help us set up intentions for the following month. What are we taking with us and what are we leaving behind? My rosebud thorn reflection this week, I took myself into Austin, Texas a couple of days ago and spent the whole day with my daughter, who I can't even remember the last time. We just had a just mom-daughter day, and it was exactly what I needed. It was just the most perfect day of laughter and joy and memory making and just good for my soul. So that was probably going to be like the highlight of the month for me. My bud is my garden, and I'm ready for this crazy Texas weather to settle down so I can get some tomatoes and peppers planted. And I'm a gardener. I shared that this will probably be my bud for the next few weeks as I get ready to watch all that new growth. And then the thorn is just, again, the weather, Texas allergies, they're getting me down. So take a moment and turn to, yes, page 44. That is the rosebud thorn reflection at the end of this previous week, the one that we're finishing up. But you can also do this in any space in your journal and take a moment to reflect on what last week brought you. And again, these don't have to be big things. If you just were able to sit by yourself with a book for 10 minutes, that could be your rose. Thank you for sharing as you were able and for leaning into this activity. I really like what Liz wrote. She is in the process of kind of figuring out what is not serving her and what that looks like in her career to create this exit that serves everyone well. And so often we're so good about piling things on and we forget to take a look at the things that we need to release. And so thank you for sharing that, Liz. I think that's a great takeaway for all of us to remember that it's important to take away the things that do not serve us any longer. So it's time to dig into our weekly planner on pages. We're going to be looking at pages 46 through 50, the big chunk of pages. It's week 12, and we are going to look at all these spaces. Now, those of you who have been with us for a while, you know this. They're all labeled as something, right? Goals, to-dos, meal plan. But I want to remind you that these spaces can be repurposed to work for you. You know what you need in your life. You know what your weeks are going to look like, how you want to frame those weeks out. And so these sections, even though they're labeled as one thing, can totally work as for other purposes. And I've got a whole list of things here for you to consider if you want to repurpose. You'll hear us talk a whole lot about repurposing these parts of our journals so that they serve us and what our needs are. So there's a whole lot, not an exhaustive list, but a whole lot of ideas of things you could track. I had mentioned earlier, I'm a gardener, so I could repurpose one of these to track all the things I'm doing in the spring. Do what serves you the best. All righty. So the first thing I like to do is the reflection on how do you want to feel? When we claim that week and that feeling, and it's kind of interesting because we did look at the future and we're planning a future week for ourselves. So I want you to think about how you want that week to feel. Do you need one word or a phrase? Is there a mantra you need to tell yourself? Or do you have a fun sticker? Maybe print out a picture and put in that section that says, this week I want to feel. Maybe there's something you want to focus on or a quote. I've got some examples from our Sonder family on how they've set this up. So I'd like to know what are you kind of wanting to embrace this week? Drop that in the chat right now. I've written for this week that I want to feel calm because I've had a lot of I've been sick, so then I feel guilty about not getting things done. So I'm claiming calm this week as well as fruitful. I want to be getting some things done, but in a nice way, not making everything crazy. Kelly saying she wants to be happy. Why did it happen? You're going to just eat healthy. Yes, that's a great overriding goal. Magical Bailey's going to be magical. Bailey's going to Disney. So what else do you want to feel special for your birthday? Happy birthday, BJ. Clarity. Annie is leaning into clarity. What other ways are you going to frame out this week with how you want to feel? I'm seeing consistent, positive, content, strong, nurturing your soul, productive, in control, motivated. I love when people lean into great stickers and they find the perfect sticker, right? You can just put that one sticker down. Great things never came from a comfort zone, right? Pushing yourself. That's a wonderful way to frame out the feelings for the week. I'm seeing content, organized, grounded, on top of work obligations. You'll notice the one in the bottom, they've actually done a feeling for every day. And that's a way to frame that out. Maybe you've got some busy days and you've got some calm days, so you can assign a feeling to each day. So you guys have got that. So grab that word or words or phrase. And then I want us to write down, we're going to take a look at the 3 major goals for this week, that weekly major 3 goals. Now, before we do that, want to remind you, you might only need to have 1 major goal this week, right? Put that on there. You don't have to do 3. You might also need to have 5 goals because you've got a busy, hectic week. So my main question for you is, how are the goals you're going to set going to support the way you want to feel? Because those things should match up. They should sync together, right? Here's how some folks have set those 2 sections up. They've got their how they want to feel, and then they've put their major goals there. And hopefully those goals are tying back to those feelings. All righty. I really think the one on the right is a fun way to frame that out. If you're like, I just don't know how to set these goals. I know that this Sonder family member every week does something for her left brain, something for right brain, and then something that's a no brain, which is like just the house cleaning or whatever. And I like that that's her structure of being able to land on those 3 goals. So just a suggestion there. And then here's some more examples of how folks have set this up. Perhaps you'll do a mind goal, a body goal, and a work goal. Or you can see the one in the bottom, delete, delegate, and delight. So what are you taking away? What are you giving away to someone else or asking for help for? And then what one goal are you going to lean into that will just bring you delight? So let's take a few moments to work on this section, and I'll play some music and I'll check back in with you. And again, here's some reminders of how you can set those goals up. Go back and take a look at your intentions or your monthly habit tracker. Maybe look through that lens of gratitude, and maybe you'll really lean into the future. What goals could you have being intentional this week? From thinking about, your future and being gratitude, look at creating no goals, right? What are you eliminating? Taking away, no spending goals, no takeout meals, that kind of thing. Look at maybe the previous weeks. We're kind of getting into the end part of March. Or there's some undone things that need to be moved to this week. And then you can also frame your goals around a personal challenge. Maybe eat healthy is your main goal. And so you'll do some 3 breakouts about what that looks like. And if you have a word of the year, you could use that, or you could repurpose with a whole bunch of suggestions that are over there on the right. Let me play a song and let you work on this, and I'll come back in and check with you. Please share what your weekly goals are going to be. All righty. So we've set our goals for the week. It's going to be a good week. You've already set up for future you by taking a look at what those goals are going to be. And I just love that there's a couple of you are like leaning into doing a couple of no things, taking away things that aren't serving you. So good job. So we're going to take a look at the weekly to-do section now. And I did want to throw this in. I don't, the little calendar that's right up here, I use it as kind of like, okay, where are we? But I love how this Sonder family member has kind of used it as her month at a glance, and just thought it was worth putting on here in case it inspired any of you to utilize that little calendar that we see at the top of this page. Doing some, a circle is for plans and dotted circle is for work that is due. And then tracking activity days and appointment days. It's just such a great way to have a quick little week at a glance, month at a glance. So just a suggestion for you guys if you find that speaks to you. So in the to-dos, I always have this big O to-do list, and it travels to each journal with me each month. I just pull it out. I bought some of the repositional Scotch glue. You can get it on Amazon, just repositional glue. It makes it into a Post-it note. And this big O list travels from journal to journal, and I use it as inspiration for my to-dos. These are things that are not time sensitive, but I don't want to forget about. So anything can go on here, and then I can put things into my week, or it can just hang out or whatever. So that's just a suggestion to you. If you feel like you've got a lot and you don't want to forget, but you don't want to put it all in your week, kind of keep an ongoing list. So the to-do space is great because it can be repurposed into a lot of ways to work for you. I love that somebody did their weekly to-dos with nothing but stickers. You can divide this up into your tasks for work or home, or maybe a morning routine, an evening routine. It can be a regular old to-do list. And yes, Kaylin, the repositional glue is amazing because anything can become a Post-it note at that point. I love it. We like this tool in Sonder family for if you have overwhelm and you're not sure how you're going to get everything done. We like to show you this every week to remind you, you can use this. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix, named for President Eisenhower, who used it when tackling his to-dos. And it really does help us take the things that are urgent and important and flesh those out that they have to be done. And then it helps us see what is not important and not urgent. And we can put that sort of in a delete or even a delay for later box, because sometimes when you've got so much to do, your energy doesn't go exactly where it needs to go. And this is a great way to sort out all those to-dos you've got. Some repurpose ideas. You might want to, if you're working on a lot of self-reflection, it could become a to-be list. How do you need to be this week? And some reminders and some, mantras or little mini goals for that. The one in the bottom is what I do. I make a weekly to-do list. My to-dos go in my daily spread. So the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I put my to-dos there. And I leave this spot open for the to-dos. And those are all the extras that I managed to get done that really wasn't on the to-do list, but I want to reward myself. So I like that productivity part of seeing what I did and celebrating that. Make a dread list of all the things you've been putting off in your life. Maybe your to-do list is like, okay, all this stuff is getting done this week, the dread list. Perhaps it's a to-don't list. Again, we've spoken to removing the things that no longer serve you. Maybe you're really going to focus on that this week. And to add to that, this was actually one of the graphics that was found in our Instagram feed this week. If you're not following Silk and Sonder on Instagram, it's got wonderful content. Please consider doing so. This was make a to not do list to check off what you didn't do. So eliminating things like multitasking, not sleeping enough, spending time with people who don't appreciate me, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a little bit of inspiration for you if you want to lean into that to don't list. So let's just take a look at that for a moment and let us know how you're using this space. I'll come back and check with you in just a moment. Hey, thank you for sharing how you're going to use this space. Several of you do like to put a little bingo board there. I am a team bingo fan, and I always put mine in my shopping list. I'll have an example of that to share in just a little bit ago. Again, all of these spaces can be repurposed to work for you. And I wanted to also remind you, one of our Silk and Sonder family members said, I think at last week's setup, that instead of a to-do list, kind of reframes that with things that I'd like to do, to kind of take that pressure off of, maybe not getting everything done. And I love that gentle way of reminding yourself that something that is left undone does not, it's neutral. It's just neutral. It is what it is. You didn't get it done. It doesn't speak to how much you've accomplished or what you've gotten done or your productivity level. It's neutral. It just didn't happen. You'll hear me say many times, those empty spaces are also part of your story for that day, that week, that month. We have to be gentle with ourselves. And this is a lot of self-talk because I am a productive girl. I like to get things done. So just a gentle reminder for that. So now let's slide down to the bottom section and look at that habit and activity tracker for the week. And if you're new, one of the big questions that we hear is what's the difference between the monthly habit tracker and that weekly habit tracker? And I like to just frame it out with the habit wheel that we have at the front of our journals each month. I like to look at that as the things that we want to do every single day. We want to try to aim to do it every single day, those daily habits. I like to make my bed on there because I tend to do that anyway. So I already have a win. And things like take my vitamins or I want to read every day. So those are kind of the things that I plan to do every day in a month. The weekly habit and activity tracker, that can be changed up depending on the week I'm having. And it can be you can really pinpoint it based on your goals for the week, how you want to feel that week. So that to me has a lot of flexibility with changing up. So we're going to take a look at that section, and here's a lot of ways that you can set it up. You'll see the one right over here on the far left. It's kind of a fun way to frame it. You do 5 things, 4 things, 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as a goal. Now, I'll be honest with you, I tend to not set goals. Every once in a while, I'll give myself a number of times I want to do whatever is on my tracker. If I need that motivation, but it's okay to not have goals here. It's really up to you and what serves you the best. You can see the one in the middle at the bottom. They've put 3 things, 3 items on this space. They're only going to track 3 things. They want to do it every day. But you don't have to fill out all the spaces. That's what that's a reminder of. And then you can see the one in the upper right is just tracking. They're going to use the colors to track when that particular habit, habit and activity happens. Again, not setting a goal because that might not work for you that week. If life is crazy, you might need to be gentle with yourself and not put that pressure on you. So I have a whole lot of ideas for this section. If you're not sure how to frame that out, let me put on some music and let us know how you're using the space. If you're going to track goals, what you're going to do, we'd love to know. righty. Good job, guys. You're getting your activity set. And I did want to call out a couple of things. Katie said that last week was spring break and she didn't get things done. I get it. When you're off your regular routine, sometimes that can be hard, but just give yourself grace. That means you had a great spring break and you were focusing on what you needed to focus on. If you didn't get things done, you got some other things. So maybe you were making memories with your family or just taking some time for yourself. Those unstructured days are also a very needed thing from time to time. Alrighty, so we're going to skip over to our next page. And on that page, you will see we have the meal plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list. And I want you guys to kind of think about these spaces tend to have lots of room for repurposing. A lot of folks use these in many different ways. So I'm going to take time to go through all the sections at once because something may speak to you that I share from the meal plan, but you may decide to put that in your shopping list area if you're not using your shopping list as a shopping list. Something may speak to you from the Mind Body Health Plan that you'd like to drop into the meal plan section if you're planning to repurpose. And then I'll give you some time to work on this and I'll go back and forth through all these slides again so that you'll be able to take a look at them. So let's be reminded that all these different ways of repurposing can be incorporated into any of the sections on this page. This is the page that I tend to do some repurposing on just because that works best for me. So yes, thank you, Bailey. We're just scooting right over to page 47. So let's take a look at some ideas for the meal plan. You can see that Sonder family members have used that for journal prompts and responses. I love the little Post-it notes. So the prompt is on the top and then underneath is the answer. That's just kind of a fun thing to do. Maybe you're working on the word of the day and you put the word on the top and the definition on the bottom. Ways to repurpose that. Perhaps you're going to learn more about the 7 types of rest and lean into each different type to make sure you're being cognizant of taking care of your different rest needs. A self-care plan, a weekly reflection. Let's see, the affirmations from Sonder Club. That's a great thing to put in the meal plan. And I did, if you'll notice over there on the left, this is from a family member, Sonder family member named Portia, and she color codes the beverages that she drinks. So she's got, different water, tea, you could do lemonade, hot chocolate. I thought that was a really great way of using those water droplets, but they could also be a tracker for other things, a chore list, appointments, a wardrobe tracker, or your packing list. Perhaps you are tracking some symptoms. That's a great thing to do in this meal space because there's a lot of different, there's good space to write. Maybe you're tracking what you eat and how that responds reflux wise. Set that up for all that thing in all your symptoms in one space to show your healthcare provider. Daily debrief, fasting, schoolwork, homework, lesson plans, doing the GLAD reflection at the end of the week. What were you grateful for? What did you learn? What did you achieve? What delighted you? Now that all of these can also be put into the Mind Body Health Plan. And then I have some other ways of framing that out. So folks tend to really lean into their self-care through this section. It may be moving your body, exercise, like you see. There are some examples of different ways of looking at how you track exercise. Maybe some reminders like the one you see in the upper middle. Love yourself. Tuesday, I'm going to focus on being quirky. Wednesday, I'm going to be kind. Then the one below that in the middle, just some fun self-care treats or activities. The one in the upper right is the daily journal prompt. And I love the one at the bottom right. How do I nourish my mind, body, soul with just a word reflection? This is something that I did week before last because we do have gratitude this month. And I found this graphic about leaning into daily gratitude. So I framed my mind body health out with a gratitude reflection each day. And then here's some other ways of setting that up. What do you feel? What do you need? Some people will do feels and meals, and they'll kind of reflect on when they're eating and how they're feeling, if that's something that they're working on. Let's see, the one over there on the upper right, you can see it's not 7 things for each day. It's just I'm going to journal, yoga, take a bubble bath, and have a dress up day for no reason. So kind of just a fun way to frame that section out. And someone else tracks the national days of the month with the meals and or with the mind body health section. And then here is that shopping list. I know lots of folks do different repurposing for the shopping list. This is where I put my weekly bingo board, and my bingos are tasks and treats. If you have a fun week planned, like a birthday week or someone anniversary, someone in your family's having a birthday, you could do a birthday bingo on how you're celebrating that person. Maybe you'll make a packing list, bills due. I love the unshopping list. Do you see that one kind of in the middle left? It says stay out of the dollar store. They're going to send somebody else in, which I laugh because, you go to the dollar store, $1.25 store for one thing and you end up with 20. A chore list, a self-care bingo. So lots of ways to repurpose that space. And then right below that is what are we loving? What are we loving right now, this very moment? So let me put on some music while you work on this section or this page, these 3 sections, and let us know if you're doing any repurposing and what has worked for you. I want to be sure that we are utilizing your time. So if there's any slides that you'd like to see again as we close out our time together, just drop that in the chat when we play our exit music today. So I also have a couple of pages to show you of what people do with those weekly spreads, how they take those spaces and divide them up so that it works for them in their lives. And so here are some examples of how they draw boxes to incorporate fun, health, home, work. Perhaps your affirmations go there. I love the one on the right, the six most for that day. The things that were the most important to get done and to tackle that day. Here's a couple more. How things are divided up. The events for the day are up at the top of that one on the left. The to-dos, I tend to put my to-dos on these pages. I love that the to-dos and the chores are separate, and then closing with the affirmation there. This is also a great, Christy says she use those spaces as like what happened during the day, that daily reflection, that journal writing in there of how you do that. This person's using the top of this page for a daily sketch, and then some garden chores and reflection. To-dos, win of the day, how can I improve, doing that self-reflection on becoming the best version of you, self-care plan. And I did see so many of you are putting in ways to lean into that self-care every single day. Somewhere in your journal, you've put it as a to-do, you've put it as a goal, you've put it in your weekly, and that is so important. And I give you kudos. So I encourage you, after you get your pages set up, show us in Sonder Club what you've come up with for this week. Share with your fellow Sonder Club family members. We're getting ready to close our time together. There is a code to refer a friend. If you're loving Silk and Sonder, get your friends on board. You can hold your camera up, and that QR code will take you to a way that you can refer this magic to any friends that you have. And then, of course, you will receive an email asking for your feedback, but you can hold your camera up to that QR code you see there that says share your feedback, and that will take you to the survey. We record all of these socials that we do, so they are accessible for you. You need to give us about a couple of business days it usually takes to get the socials posted to the private YouTube channel. Bailey has dropped that in the chat. Make sure you bookmark it. It is not searchable. It's private just for the Silk and Sonder family. We do have a public one, but that will not contain the socials that you are looking for. A reminder, the chat does not render into the video recording. So it is just the recording, but you can go backward and find all the socials that have been done in the past. And then there is our playlist for the day. And we will close up. Sonder family, I'd like to thank you for taking care of yourself. Future you is going to have a great week. Thanks for joining Bailey and me today. Make it a great day and find gratitude in all that you see.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in circle, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in circle, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside your ears just like the waves and sound it. And just say whatever, cause there is no way you're grounded. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed,